stucco guys here. He's busting out around the stucco so we can tie into the chicken wire. This is a project we just finished up. This is a 5-foot vinyl patio sliding door. This one is a Symington. This was purchased at Home Depot. And this one has a couple of features that were ordered with it. The glass is the Solar Cool Bronze. This is with the Pro Shade Solar. This has the Pro Solar Shade. This particular pane is the 1-inch Super Spacer. It's actually 7/8, and the nice thing about the Super Spacer is it has a dense foam insert instead of metal, so it won't conduct heat. It gets pretty hot here in Las Vegas, so this one will do really well. And as you can see, being brand new, the screen slides really nice. Much better than the old aluminum piece of crap that was in there. All right, we're inside the door. This is 2.5-inch standard casing that we trimmed this door out with. We did have to cut a little jam extension. And then that's the line across the floor where we cut the tile. And we just put a bead of white silicone along there, and it helped to seal it in. So that's the inside of the door. You can see that the stucco we actually had done professionally, but the install was a DIY project. Might seem like it might be a little bit more complicated than a homeowner can do DIY, but it actually wasn't that hard, and this is how we did it. We're going to take out the old door so we can put in the new one. So we're going to cut the stucco right along the chalk line there, 2 inches to expose the old nailing flange. All right, so to cut the stucco, we're using this diamond tip blade in my Makita saw. And I've got it set for about 1 1/8 inches. And as you can see, it cut through the stucco, but the foam is still kind of intact in there. We'll start digging that out. All right, that's got all the stucco removed from around the door. And then the nail flange is exposed. This particular door had about 8 nails in it. So we're going to go ahead and remove the door so we can start putting in the new one. That's got the frame out. Let's go ahead and get this opening cleaned up. See how this new one's going to fit in there. All that's holding that threshold down is just kind of a bead of liquid nails of some sort. All right, so we've created a bubble. And we're getting ready to cut the tile because the thickness of the door won't allow us to set on the concrete. Now, we could shim that, but at some point this homeowner wants to replace the tile. So we're just going to cut along this line with the same saw with the same blade. And you can see the line there, so we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so as you can see, the saw blade didn't make it all the way to the end because of the saw. So we're going to take this grout tool and we're going to do some hand sawing and chip it with a chisel. Perfect. Now we're gonna take this door and set it in the opening and make sure everything fits before we put the silicone down on the concrete. All right, we got it setting in there. We'll get it square in the opening, and that looks really nice. All right, so we just put a big fat bead of silicone under this thing, and now we're about to set it on top of it. All right, so it's looking pretty level in there. We've got a nail in the bottom. Of course, the stud in there is not even close to being level. We're level on the jamb, we're level on the door. So we're gonna go ahead and put some nails on the nailing flange. Alright, we'll get it buttoned up here. So the door's set, we just need to trim the inside and we need to deal with the stucco on the outside. So one thing we did do for the latch is we cut a nice thick piece of wood. That way that's all very secure. Alright, so that's got the outside done, except for the stucco. The door itself is actually set. We've got the silicone underneath. The nailing flange is attached. We've got to trim the inside. The stucco guy will deal with the outside, but that's pretty much that part of it.
So the stucco guy's here. He's busting out around the stucco so we can tie into the chicken wire.
You can see where they busted out the stucco to expose the chicken wire so they can blend in. Alright, so they're all done blending that in. This has got to dry, and then they're going to do the texture coat, but we're going to do that next week. Alright, so they're all finished. Texture's blended in. Of course, this is all wet, so we'll pull this tape off later and let this dry out. In a couple of days, we'll give it some paint. All right, here we are a couple days later. Everything's dried out. We're blending in some paint. Paint we got color match from Sherwin-Williams, so it's gonna look pretty good. So after the paint dries, we'll take another stab at it. So we're all done painting. It's had a day or two to dry. Blended in really nice. We actually painted the whole wall. And it's not an exact match, but because we painted the whole wall, it actually doesn't matter. It looks pretty good. And so we blended it in right to there, and it's all done now. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe below and hit the bell for notifications. I'm glad you watched, and I hope you'll watch again.